Hey everybody, it's Peter for Brantford Kia and welcome to our live video series. Today we are going to talk about two cars that are kind of unicorns, a little bit unique cars, and we'll talk about why that's unique. It's a comparison between the Kia Forte5 and the Kia Niro. Now these two cars are a little bit unique and we'll talk about why. First of all, if you're just tuning into this video and you're not watching us live, if you just want to see the video but you weren't able to join us live, no problem. You can skip ahead to about the 3-minute mark. We're just going to let our audience build to about 3 minutes. And what I'm going to do, if you want to join us live, I'll show you how to do that right now. So we'll flip the camera around right here. And right now, if you go to our YouTube page, or any weekday around 2 p.m. Eastern time, go to our YouTube page, click on, or just sort of refresh the page. Sorry, let me go back and do this better. Go to the search bar, look for Brantford Kia. You're probably already on there right now anyways, but if you go there, search for us and refresh it exactly at 2 o'clock, which is right now, one of two things will happen. You will see right down there our live video. If that live video doesn't show up, it's probably because I didn't get it ready in time. And then you just click this little videos tab right here. And if you click that videos tab, you'll see another live now thing right there. So that is our live video for each day. We're going to click that, enter in, and I'm going to just blow up this page a little bit because your comments will be able to be seen on the side in a second. There we go. So if anybody wants to drop a comment, say hello. That'll just let me know the comments are working great. And we'll kick off the comments. But those comments right there, I'll be able to see on our big screen right over there. And I will do my best to answer those questions throughout the next half hour or so. So we're gonna spend a half an hour looking at these couple vehicles. So feel free to grab a snack. And there we go, we got a comment in there. So grab a snack, grab a drink, and hang out with us. So what we're talking about today are kind of two interesting cars to me. They are cars that I have professed quite a bit of excitement for. When the Niro first came out, I claimed it as my favorite Kia. I don't know that it is anymore, but I think it really is unique and hits a lot of sweet spots for a lot of people. And then there's the Kia Forte5, which many of you know, the Kia Forte5 GT is certainly one of my favorite cars to drive here. Has a lot of practicality, and we're going to talk about that. This is not the GT. So when I say these are a little bit unique cars, this Forte5 is not available in the United States. So that is the hatchback version. So this may seem a little less common for some of you people that are from the States. You may say, why am I comparing a sedan to the Niro? And the reason is because this isn't a sedan. This is the hatchback version of this car. So I quite like this car, and this video was actually suggested by you, our viewers. So we're doing this because you suggested it, and the more we talked about it, the more it kind of made sense that we compare these two. The reason the Niro is a little bit rare is the Niro is an L model. So this is the very base entry-level Niro. Not a lot of dealers stock these. We happen to have one. We've had it for a little tiny bit now. So we're going to throw it in a few videos while we have it in stock. So we are beyond the 3-minute mark. Real quickly, do me a favor, if at any point in this video I've earned your like, hit that like button for me and let my bosses know that you appreciate what I'm doing, that you like something. Maybe you like something in the video. You know how this works. Also, if I can earn your subscription, that would be great. I would love to have that as well. Over here, last thing before we jump into the cars is, if you want to know what we're doing every day on our live videos, just follow me on Instagram. Every day I do a story between 8 and 9 in the morning, and I try to put up a post of what we're throwing in the video bay. As long as my day's not too crazy, you'll see that post there. And so that's at Peter_Brantford_Kia. Follow me at Instagram. One of the cool things about following me on Instagram is you can see the posts that I do. And if you have a burning question about the car that we're talking about, you can ask me before I even start filming, and I can make sure that I answer that in the video. So that's just one feature of following me there. I'm not really too concerned if you follow me on Instagram. It's a great way to do it. But yeah, if you want to subscribe to our channel here, that's more important to me. That helps us out. All right, so we're going to jump right in. Why did we choose these two cars? Well, at first I kind of, like I said, it was suggested by one of our viewers to compare these two. And at first I kind of thought it was a weird comparison, but the more we started talking about it here at work, the more we kind of realized how similar these cars are. They are both front-wheel drive vehicles. They are both sort of fuel-efficient options. They both have good luggage space. And I'm going to say something that Kia Canada is not going to like. That Niro, it's not really a crossover. It's a tall wagon. It's a tall hatchback. So, you know, I get it. A lot of people like to call this a crossover because we're not allowed to say wagons or hatchbacks anymore. But the reality is, this is a crossover like, you know, I mean, let's face it, it's a hatchback. It's a little bit taller hatchback, and wagon style hatchback, that's what I like. And frankly, so is the Forte5. They call it the Forte5 because you can't say hatchback for some silly reason. But they both offer SUV-like practicality in fuel-efficient options. Now, let's just review a few specs that I thought were interesting. First of all, the length of the Forte5, 6.1 inches longer. It's 177.5 inches, 171.4 inches for the Niro. So Niro is shorter in length. The width is a half a centimeter difference. So it is 0.1 of an inch, so half a centimeter difference in width. 70.9 and 71 inches. I'm doing everything in inches just because I think that's easier to measure than millimeters for this type of thing. I will switch to liters at some point, so if you're American, I'm sorry. Height. The Niro, of course, is taller. They go for that whole crossovers type feeling. It is 60.4 inches. The height of the Forte5 is 56.6 inches. Now, to be fair, it's 3.8 inches difference, but the Niro has 1 inch of ground clearance. So really inside the car, the Niro has 6.3 inches of ground clearance. The Forte5 has 5.3 inches. So when I say that they are 3.8 inches different in height, 1 inch of that is ground clearance. That's not interior space kind of thing. Horsepower is very similar, 147 for the Forte5, 139 for the Niro. Torque is actually interesting. So torque on the Forte5, 132 foot-pounds of torque. 195 foot-pounds of torque in the Niro. That's that electric motor at work, but the Niro only has that 195 horsepower up to about 195 foot-pounds of torque up to about 2,400 RPM. The interesting thing about the Forte5 is the turbo engine available in that car also has 195 foot-pounds of torque. So you can get identical torque in both these cars. Trunk space. Anybody want to guess? There's a few of you on right now. Guess which trunk is bigger, Niro or Forte5? I'll let you guys do that for a second, and then we'll jump into these cars. I just want to show you around both these cars as well. So you guys are guessing which one has, as many of you can, just write in which one you think has a larger trunk. This is the Forte5. There's the Niro right there. You guys can tell me which one you think, and then we'll actually just show you. And one thing I will say with the Niro L has no underfloor trunk storage space. So it's a little bit larger trunk than the regular Niro. We had a vote for Forte5. Anybody else want to guess? Guess nobody does. Okay. So I'm going to tell you right now, one trunk is 106 liters bigger than the other trunk, and it is not the crossover. It is actually the hatchback. So the Forte5 has a very good sized trunk, 741 liters compared to 635 liters for the Niro. So a lot of people go with the Niro over the Soul, especially in the EV market, because they like a little bit extra trunk space. Forte5 is bigger again. So just kind of an interesting spec mix. Basically the Niro's a little bit, the Forte5 is a little bit longer, Niro's a little bit taller, and the trunk is bigger in that. Everything else is very similar spec-wise. All right, so when we talk about trunks, let's show you the trunk space. In this car, again, you can open the trunk from the back, just like that. You have a very long floor. I don't know how that shows, but we'll show you, we'll have a demonstrator there in a second to show you. But it is very long. You have a 60-40 split. You have some cool little features here. There is underfloor storage in the Forte5. You can pull that side up there, and you can see you can put like something strapped in there. You can pull this side up over here, and you can put something in there that has elastic straps instead of the sort of Velcro-y straps. There is a cargo net that comes with this car. You can look underneath the floor like this, and in fact, you can prop that floor up to the piece above, sort of like that, to the little cover, and now you can access that underfloor storage. Dig a little deeper, and you can see there's some plastic panels around the outside. You can see a better look at what the straps are like when you lift to those side panels. But what's kind of cool is even below that, you have more underfloor storage. So very cool mix in the Forte5. The trunk itself is bigger, but you have more underfloor storage than maybe a Mazda Miata has in trunk space. Probably not, but you know, close. All right, let's jump over to the Niro, and I'll show you in this car. This car, again, does not have the underfloor trunk storage space. So there's Teddy. He's my trunk measurement tool. He's a friend of mine, hangs out with me all the time. I do stick him in the trunk because if I fill the screen with a trunk, you don't really get a comparison of which trunk is bigger. You can see the floor seems to me to be a little bit shorter. Teddy's tummy is right up against the back seats right there. And you know, he's got basically a hand width there. We demand more video and comparisons of Kia Soul, all models. No problem, we can talk about that. All right, so let me just throw Teddy in the other car just so we can compare, and we'll come back to this trunk in 1 second. Teddy's going for a walk with me. Teddy's like 5 feet tall, give or take, we figured. So he's almost enough to social distance from his height. All right, throw him in there. You can see the floor is indeed a little bit longer. We have a little bit more space from Teddy's tummy to the back of the car in the Forte 5. Probably a little deeper space in the Niro, but again, keep in mind, this particular Niro has a lower floor. I've got the floor mats in here right now, but there is usually a little bit raised up floor, a couple inches raised up floor that comes basically to the edge of the floor or the edge of the entrance here in the rest of the Niros. This one doesn't have that. It does have a little space underneath the floor to store things, just the same inflator kit on both vehicles. But you do have a little bit of a dipped floor in this L model only. So if you're looking at a Niro and it's not the base L model, this trunk shrinks again by having a little bit extra height. Please stay one Teddy apart. Exactly. I think we're going to start doing that. One Teddy plus a foot apart. So there we go. Trunk space you do gain in the Forte 5. Kind of an interesting comparison. I would have assumed the Niro was bigger, except that I know that the Forte 5 has an exceptionally large trunk for what it looks like it has. All right, we're going to jump inside the cars. Actually, before we do that, let's just take a look at pricing and fuel economy numbers, because those things are going to matter to you when you're comparing, if you're comparing these two vehicles. Somebody remind me to get Teddy out of there later. Tomorrow I'll be looking for him 3 minutes before my video starts, and I'll have to ask you guys where he is. All right, let me just jump over to my computer screen here. And here we go, Forte 5. There are 3 models, the EX, the GT, and the GT Limited. The EX has this 147 horsepower engine. That's the most fuel efficient way to get it. You can go GT and get that extra torque that we added. Is there a manual Forte 5? Interestingly, in Canada, no. In the States, you do have a Forte GT, and that has a manual. In Canada, there are no manuals. And I actually talked to the head of marketing for Kia Canada about these cars and why there's no manuals. And the reality is, I'm sorry, it's our fault. We just don't buy them. Manuals sit on lots way more than the automatic transmissions do. So no manual transmissions in these cars, which does make them a little bit closer to competitors. They both have automatics. We'll talk about the differences in their automatic transmissions as well, though. So yeah, no manual, but that's okay. So we're looking at the EX model today, 22,245. You can see they do go up, 27,395 and 29,995, but look at the fuel efficiency numbers, 8 liters per 100 kilometers and 6 liters per 100 kilometers. Now, those can be beaten by me. I don't have any trouble with the Forte beating those numbers, but let's just use them as actual comparison numbers, 8 liters and 6 liters. Now we go over to the Niro, more expensive car, 26,845. So again, 22,245. 26.8. It is a jump in price, but look at that fuel efficiency, 4.5 liters and 4.8 liters. So you're cutting significant amount of fuel by going with a Niro. It may cost a little bit more initially, but you're going to save some of that every time you stop at the tank, or you stop to fill your tank. So here's the thing. My boss said you should do the math and figure out how long it takes. And you know what? He's right. I should have done that, but I didn't do that. So somebody who wants to do some math can figure out at a certain gas price how much fuel you will save to get to the same price. The reality is the Niro is a little bit more expensive, and they are different cars. They're not exactly in the same class, but they are two things that you can come to a Kia dealer if you're looking for an efficient and spacious vehicle. Now let's hop in and look at some tech. We're going to start at the driver's seat. We're going to compare these two cars. They are very different from here, and each one, one may appeal to one over the other. So let's see what we've got. First of all, manual seats in both. You can height adjust that seat. That's what that big lever does in right there. We're going to hop in. They are both key start vehicles, which is a little interesting. A hybrid with a key start is different. So we'll talk about that when we get to the Niro. Take a look at the dash in here. In the center there, that is a nice little display screen. Let me just turn the climate system down a little bit. You will see this display screen is not a color screen. So it is a black and white screen. Nothing wrong with that. It's very clear, very easy to read. You have things like lane keeping assist. You do have a number of safety features in here. Lane keeping assist, blind spot detection. Right over there is blind spot detection. So a lot of nice features there. But like I said, just a normal screen. And again, a traditional dash. Left side tach, right side speedometer, temperature gauge, fuel gauge. I turned the car to the on position, but I didn't start it. So you will see those warning lights stay on throughout this video, and that's okay. Moving over here, 8-inch screen, a lot of good clarity to this screen. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay capable. Nice clear backup camera, all the same stuff that you would expect. Now, just the standard software in there. Down here, manual climate controls. So nice manual climate controls. You do have a wireless charge pad here, so you can put your phone there. This little system right there, if I can get the camera to stay a little clear, there we go. That will light up orange when you put your phone in there to wirelessly charge the phone. Just get the gear shift out of the way one more time. And you can see there's a spot here for all your stuff, USB ports. There's the 12 volt, or there's a USB port for your Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. The transmission in this car, it is an IVT transmission. That is what helps get fantastic fuel efficiency. Interestingly, most hybrids have come, whichever make you have them, most hybrids have come with an IVT transmission or a CVT transmission by other makes. Our particular Niro, which we get to that, does not have that transmission. But the reason they use IVT transmissions is fuel efficiency. This one, if you put it over here, you can drop it to a manual mode. You can shift it manually. I have some drive modes in here as well. The drive modes are normal, sport, and smart, which I will just show you across the dash here. Let's just zoom in for a second here. Whoop, come on. Oh, we lost it there. Come on. There we go. Drive mode. Normal, sport, and smart. And what's kind of fun is you can look over here at this screen, come back out a little bit. There's normal, there's sport, and there's smart. So kind of a cool display in the center of the screen there as well. But you do have 3 drive modes, and that's really the key. Heated seats, rump roasters, and you also have heated steering wheel. So that's what you get in the Forte 5. Cruise control over here, of course. Multi-information display is controlled here. Bluetooth, automatic headlights. You get the picture. We'll come back to this in a minute. Turn that car off for a second. Again, lane keep, blind spot detection, things to remember. Wireless charge pad, those kinds of things. But manual climate control. Jumping over here for the Niro, base Niro still has an 8-inch screen. Every Niro in 2019 had a heated steering wheel. That's no longer the case anymore. So they just changed that a little bit. You do gain a color display here now. So you gain another display screen, which you have some color display. You do gain a little bit more information in here as it pertains to a hybrid vehicle. And you'll notice that the dash is a little different. Instead of a tachometer over here, you do have just a charge eco power type gauge. You don't really need to know the engine speed, although on the plug-in hybrid vehicle, and I believe possibly on the higher level Niros, you will get a tachometer in the center display screen as you upgrade through the models. So just kind of an interesting thing, but speedometer on the right, multi-information display in the center, and it is a color screen. So looks a little higher end there to me, just because of that color screen. Moving over here, identical screen, but instead of having that raised out of the car screen, because this car sits a little bit taller, you sit a little bit more square in it, they can lower the dash and you have this screen through here. I'm gonna throw it in reverse for a second and you will see I have a nice clear backup camera as well. Same backup camera in both cars. Ability for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in both cars. You'll see a little bit of an updated software. The other car, I don't know if you noticed, it was 50-50 split. This one has more of a 60-40 split. And you do get a lot of hybrid controls. So same software on both of these cars. This one, of course, this car idles a little bit at the dealership, so you're gonna see a little bit worse fuel economy than the actual numbers. But the point is you can go through some hybrid screens and you can look at all kinds of different things. And there are some software differences that way, but same screen. Now moving down here, instead of a manual climate control, you get an automatic climate control. So a step up. Again, this is a more expensive car. You do get a step up there. And it is a dual zone automatic climate control. So let me just hit the climate button here. I'm going to turn the fan down so you can hear me. Kind of a cool display screen when you throw it up, all the information on there. If I set the temperature, you'll see it goes blue when it's cooler temperatures. I don't know if you can see that blue. It is very blue to me. White now, and red above that. It looks orange on your screen, but it's more red. So this blue has trouble getting picked up here, but it is a very clear blue screen. And I'm going to turn the climate system off just for now so you can hear me. But yeah, you do have a little bit different software because of that manual or the automatic climate control. Hybrids also have a driver-only mode. It can help save the gasoline engine from running a little bit by directing only the vents towards the driver and turning all other vents off in the car. And it's just something to keep in mind. Coming down here, no more wireless phone charging pad. You have an automatic transmission we're going to talk about in a second, but you also do not have blind spot detection and you do not have lane keep assist. So again, when you move to the hybrid, you lose a few features. You do gain some price. You gain things like a little bit bigger passenger area. You gain things like the automatic climate control, but you also take a few things away as well. So it just depends on what matters to you. This particular car, again, base level Niro. Very rare car. Like I said, we don't sell very many of these. You still have automatic transmission, which I can tap this way and shift on my own. Here's the difference. Let me just show you in the dash right here. Right now, let me zoom in a little bit. You can see that color screen. It's actually much clearer in person. I have an eco mode, which is the standard drive mode. Only eco mode and only sport mode. There's no button on this car to change drive modes. The way to change drive modes on this car is simply by taking that gear shift and tapping it this way. It doesn't have to be manually shifted like this. The Forte is the exact same way. When you tap it this way, it jumps into sport mode. This is the exact same system. You can manually shift your gears here, but the difference is this one has a dual clutch transmission, whereas the Forte has an IVT. If you want a dual clutch transmission, usually these things are reserved for more sporty cars. The Forte GT with the turbo engine uses the dual clutch instead of the IVT. So interesting mix of options here. You have potentially a slightly less efficient transmission, but it is dual clutch transmissions are already more efficient than regular automatic transmissions. So if that makes any sense at all, let me put it simply for you. The previous model Kia Soul had a regular automatic transmission. The turbo model had a dual clutch transmission. That turbo model actually was the more efficient version than the regular gasoline engine because of that dual clutch. So dual clutches are still very efficient. IVTs tend to be a little bit more, but with this hybrid system, of course, you gain efficiency that way. Down here, there's your missing button right there. My fingers look a lot more greasy than they do on in camera than they do in person. That button is on upper trim levels is a heated steering wheel. On this car, you have the heated seats, just like that. Rump roasters there in the front two seats, but you don't have that heated steering wheel. So you gain a little bit of features in the Forte5 that you lose, and you gain and you lose, depends on what's important to you. So if, for instance, you want heated steering wheel for sure, if you want safety features like lane keep assist, and you want blind spot detection, you can get that on the Forte5 at a lower price point than you could on the Niro. Same controls identically here, same controls identically there, same controls identically for the headlights over there. You do lose some of those safety controls that are right there. So kind of an interesting mix. It depends on what you're looking for. Both of these cars are very popular with different crowds. But again, when you start thinking about it, which fuel efficient vehicle do you want? You can spend a little bit more of your money to save a little bit more of your fuel costs. So you can spend some more money to save some more money, or you can get into a car like this, probably a little bit sportier look, tends to skew a little younger in its buyer demographic. It's a little tiny bit lower to sit into than the Niro, but not a whole lot of difference. You do gain the trunk space here. So if you're taking strollers or something like that around, this car has tons of space for all your kids' stuff, if that's an option you're considering. Niro also very good with that type of thing, but technically a little bit less, even though it is a crossover. And in many people's minds, it is a bigger vehicle. Now, it depends on how you measure bigger. Like I said, the width is within half a centimeter. The length, the Forte5 is actually longer. This one is a little taller, does have an inch more ground clearance, but neither one of these are going to be off-road vehicles. So kind of an interesting mix. So we're 23 minutes in. If you have some questions, now's a great time to ask them. I know that we lost some of our American friends, I'm sure, because there are two cars that they probably never see over there. But feel free to ask me your questions here. And if not, we'll finish up with a couple little things. I'll show you some seat room, headspace, that kind of thing. I will show you the rear seats of both these vehicles because that may be something you're considering. But I'm going to jump over and see if I missed any of your questions. And if you have any, go ahead and ask them. MPG for the Forte5. So we talked about that a little earlier. 8 liters and 6 liters per 100 kilometers versus 4.5 and 4.8. So I don't do miles per gallon. You guys will have to convert liters per 100 kilometers to miles per gallon. Just because I'm Canadian, I don't have the exact miles per gallon test. So 4.5 and 4.8 is the Niro that I'm looking at, and 8 and 6 is the Forte5. So of course, lower the number is better, but it gives you a good percentage in your head. You can sort of figure out which car is better that way. I do want to show you the headlights in both these cars. I've got one of them on. I'll have to turn the other one on here in a second. And then I'm also going to show you rear seat headspace. Front is probably similar, but I want to show you rear seat. Okay, so headlights to on. We'll turn the other ones on in a second, but here we go. The lights are pretty cool in this car. You can get LED headlights, but they don't come on this particular car. So they're going to look a little LED, but maybe you can see they're a little bit more yellow there. The flickering of this outside X pattern is just the way that my camera interacts with LED lights. So you've got very bright, sharp cutoff headlights, but they are halogen lights. That, like I said, that flickering of the regular light is just because of the way the camera interacts. And you've got high beams over here. When you have an LED headlight as well, you don't have high beams over there. A little bit different headlight design. Signal lights are down below. So this car here, same type of headlight exactly, only you have high and low beam together in the same beam. They are still halogen lights there. Down here you have LED marker lights. So you both cars have LED daytime running lights, but halogen headlights in the projector beam style. Coming back over here, the Niro has, for 2020, has some updated lighting. Used to have yellow signals. It does not anymore. Still has separate signals, but the signals are right here now. And that's the rear lights right there. Down below, backup lights are in there, but those are just reflectors. Over here, Forte 5 looks like a higher end vehicle. Again, costs less, looks like a higher end vehicle. LED lighting in the rear, signal lights just below that right there, backup lights just below that again, and just a sharper looking sporty feel to this car, and that's what they're going for. A little bit different of a diffuser, piano black down there. Big oval exhaust, kind of an oversized exhaust, which is purely styling. Anything with an eco car, of course, all they do is hide the exhaust. So you have a little silver trim there, but the exhaust is hidden way underneath right over there. And that's done on purpose, just to make it look eco-friendly. So like I said, if you have any questions about these cars, feel free to ask me. A few of you jumped back on. We went up a significant number of viewers in the past couple minutes. So if you have questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we'll keep moving through. I'm going to show you some headspace in the rear seat next. And we can do front seat as well if you like. Let me just jump over, see the questions. 3.7 liters in a gallon. Yeah, okay, so you guys are doing your math for me because I can't do math while I do this on the go, which is super helpful. All right, because one is a crossover and one is a compact car, a lot of people get concerned about rear seat space. Well, first of all, a lot of small crossovers, I don't fit in them very well. So we'll start with the Niro here real quick. I'll show you the seats are basically adjusted for my comfort. I could probably tweak them a little bit more if I was driving them, but let's just jump in here. Headroom in the Niro, rear seat space, very good. As you can see, a lot of headroom up here. I'm sitting in the, flat in the seat, very comfortable. And the knee room, let's just flick the camera around here. Very good knee room as well, a lot of knee room. If you are looking at a Niro EV and you sit in a Niro, the floor is slightly higher in the Niro EV, so keep that in mind. Memory driver seat in either vehicle, not in this particular trim line of either vehicle. If you go higher level in the Niro, you will get memory driver seats on the higher trim lines. But these cars, I'm comparing a base car to essentially a base car. The Forte 5 is a base car, but it doesn't have a true base like the Forte. As I jump into the Forte now, again, a little bit less space, not a whole lot, but a little bit less space. Feels a little bit more compact car as opposed to more crossover, but you can see I am 6 feet tall. I also easily fit in this car. A little tiny bit less space. Again, longer vehicle here, but a lot of that longer length is added to the trunk space. In this particular trim line, you do get the vents back here. In the Niro, you do not. You also have a cargo net on the passenger side here. So again, interesting mix when you start looking at the lower level Niro with the Forte 5. Not really direct competitors, but two options of front wheel drive, cargo friendly vehicles that are also very fuel efficient. And again, if you're coming in on a Niro and maybe find the Niro a little expensive, if that's the case, because again, most trim levels are higher than this. Most dealers don't even stock this car. A car you may want to consider is the Forte 5. You lose that hybrid, that efficiency of the hybrid, but you still have a very efficient vehicle that has SUV style space. How do you fit in the backseat of the Forte 5? I just jumped in there, so I was literally just there. How expensive? Okay, we did talk about that, but let's just show you the both. Let's actually walk through the model line real quick. Let me just jump in over here, show you the screen. 22,245 is the one we're looking at, the Forte we're looking at. It tops out at 29,995. This is the only model, the one we have today, with that more fuel efficient engine, 147 horsepower. The other two are performance cars, 201 horsepower, and they are tuned for performance. They are excellent driving cars. The Niro is a really complicated mix. The L is pretty rare, 26,845. So again, a little bit more than that 22, whatever it was, 22,245. But you go EX level, you get some more features. You go EX premium, you get some more features. You go higher again, SX Touring, and you get some more features. So there's a little extra trim there, and you can jump up in the price range from there. Now, you can move up from there again and have one of 2 electric vehicle models in the Niro as well. And between that, there's a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. So the Niro really has a lot of range, whereas the Forte, you have 3 Forte5s, and then you have a number of Fortes as well. If you are looking at a front-wheel drive spacious vehicle, Kia Soul is also something to look at. The Kia Seltos is available in a front-wheel drive model in Canada as well. That may be something worth considering as well. And if you move into all-wheel drive, Seltos is your only way to go. So there we go. We hit the 30-minute mark. If nobody has any questions, I think I might just wrap the video up, which is fine. Any of the Kia models got a remote start included, or is it extra? Great question. Short answer is a Niro is not going to have a factory remote start. That is an eco-friendly vehicle. Idling a vehicle is not so eco-friendly, so they don't offer that. You can get an aftermarket remote start on the Niro. This particular one has a key start. Every other Niro is push-button start, so I'm not 100% sure if you can get one on the key start. I assume you could, but I haven't seen that myself. The Forte5, when you get into the Uvo Intelligence models, you can get remote start. Now, that's one thing that actually confused me. I think the 2020 Niro has Uvo Intelligence, so we'll have to see if that does have a remote start with Uvo Intelligence. I haven't done my homework on that. I'll have to look that up, because if you get Uvo Intelligence, that's a smartphone app, and you can start your car through the smartphone app. Kind of a cool thing. The Forte5, you can get that. How expensive, or yeah. Is extra. So yeah, so remote start would be an added accessory to the Forte5, not a problem. But the Niro, it'd be an aftermarket accessory. So hopefully that helps answer your questions there. Let me just see if I missed anything right back here. No, I think we had very few questions today, nice and simple. All right, I guess I've bored you all. If you are still watching with me, and there's about 21 of you right now, do me a favor, hit that like button. If you want to subscribe, that'd be great. We have more things coming up. I think there's some itching to get the Seltos back in here. People are talking Souls as well, so I might be talking about those tomorrow. I haven't decided officially what we're doing for tomorrow. So this video was created because you guys suggested it. If you have a suggestion, I don't mind comparing cars that make sense, that don't make sense. As long as I can figure out a story to tell, I will make sure I put them in the bay. So if you have suggestions, feel free to suggest it in the comments below or in the comments while we're still live here. I think that's all we're going to do today. I think we're wrapped up. So like I said, to be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock, we'll have some fun with that. And I want to thank everyone for joining us. Oh yeah, you're here to see Teddy Bear. You know what? Question for the Kia Seltos transmission. It's probably not a question for this video. Might be a question I can answer, but I'm not sure. Same transmission in this car. So there's my teddy bear right there in the trunk. You missed him a little earlier in the video. I am going to take him out because I almost forgot him in here. And we'll shut these down. And I think we'll wrap this video up. Feel free to keep asking me questions. I'll answer them in the comment section later if I have to, or you can ask in the comment section afterwards. I'm going to get back to work and do the other things that they pay me to do, not just this. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.